October 30, 2024. It's the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini under 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. Here's what the chart looked like today. It looked like there was a big sell-off bounce right here around 6:45 Pacific Standard. There was no news to cause this bounce that I could find. A big strong push rally pretty much all the way to the open. A small little sell-off, a rally, and then another gradual two-legged sell-off. So this is how I drew the charts today. I took a total of one trade. It was profitable. And I think there was another decent trade to have taken, but I just didn't like that it was right at the open. There's another area I want to talk about. I didn't really mark it as a hunch trade, but it's just something I noticed. And then this is another setup right here that I'll talk about that I also didn't mark in my notes, but it's just something else I noticed. There was economic data that came out at 5:15 Pacific Standard, which is about right here where my cursor is. I mean, it kind of caused this weird little spike. It was the ADP Non-Farm Employment Changes. And then at 5:30, right about here, a little bit of choppiness, nothing that big happened, which was the advanced GDP numbers. And then I think there was like pending home sales around 7 o'clock Pacific Standard, is about right here. And 7:30, which is about right here, which is like crude oil inventories, pending home sales, didn't really do that much. So I'm going to get into the trades right now. There wasn't too many trades I could find, and most of them were clustered probably in the first couple of hours. Then afterwards, there's these big, nice, big gradual moves, but no clean way to enter them that I could find. So this is what the pre-market looked like. It was a nice setup here, but I don't trade the pre-market. This is really early in the AM. As you can see, my timestamp shows it's 3 a.m. Pacific Standard. So maybe 6 a.m. if you're in Eastern time, but it is definitely early. I liked it because it was the top of the range. It looked like it was two legs up, one leg up, pull back, second leg up, strong push down, good close, good signal bar close. And I don't have this red down channel drawn, but it did look like it was a break of this green down channel, push down, one attempt up, pull back, a second attempt up, but a smaller, I guess, smaller time frame. You can see it as first attempt long, second attempt long, failure, or new low, first entry short, second entry short. So but it's not really that important to get into because it didn't form in the regular trading hours, just something I noticed. And then this is actually where it sets up the very first trade that I thought was a possible trade. I skipped it though because this opened right when regular trading hours opened, and then it closed in about 25 seconds. So it's very quick for sure. So you have this down channel going down. I didn't really have this red down channel drawn. I had something slightly different. Nevertheless, you do have clearly some kind of down channel pushing down, looking like this. I'll go ahead and delete this because it didn't really help. But here, I think I'm in a trading range. It's a new low, say first entry short, second entry short. But then I for sure think I'm in a range here. It kind of creates this triple test. So it's like one attempt up, second attempt up, pull back on this tiny little guy here, and a third attempt up. So it's triple test here. You have two legs, one leg up, pull back, second leg up. Also a visual one, back, two. So I like this signal bar because it's a rejection off the top of the range, rejection off the EMA. So it already has two key entry points. EMA has been shown to be as a resistance for the last few hours. And it's a good signal bar that I liked. It moved one tick above the previous, one tick above this green one. And then it flushed down and closed below the low of the previous bar. So this is a very strong rejection, very strong sell-off right here by the bears. And it closed, just one tick above its low, which is nice. And there's enough room down to the EMA. So I thought this was a possible tick, but I didn't take it just because, as I said, it's really early in the day. I'm very cautious right when the market opens, just because if it's there, it's just, I need to be very careful. So I skipped it. Looked like it'll work. As a breakout, hits this consolidation breakout here, corresponding breakout here. At this point, I do draw this red trend line coming down. And I wasn't really sure where the bottom of the trend line should be to create a channel, because I was thinking maybe it's actually something tighter here, and I had a failed breakout here and a consolidation. So I was thinking it was this for a little while because it looked like it fit pretty nicely. One touch, two touch, kind of a third touch, but a breakout. Later, I did drag it down to here, but I'll leave it up here for now just to show kind of what my thinking was at the time. Prices consolidate. You have a new high, first entry long, pull back. You have a breakout here now. Second entry long. And as the breakout keeps going, I'm thinking, okay, this channel might actually be a little wider. Maybe it's here. Then I do have this breakout here. I didn't like that, so I actually dragged it down to here. I think I had it right here so I could keep this all within the channel at this point. But I'm definitely not thinking low going short, and I'm not thinking of going long yet. So it breaks, consolidates, it creates the first entry short, and here you get your second entry short. But so it's a new low, first entry short, push up, second entry short. Break of this, I'll just go ahead and color this guy in. It's a break of this, let's say blue up channel, and test of the high. So you're thinking the uptrend has played out, potential rejection on this. So you're thinking maybe it could go low. First entry short, second entry short. This isn't a very good signal bar. Then the follow-up, it confirms a second entry short, but now it's breaking out of this red down channel. I'm just a little weary because it could create another push up because it could be starting a correction reversal. So I'm just waiting. It looks like if you did try to go short here on this candle, one tick below, you would have gotten picked up here and likely gotten stopped out here. But going short, I could see the argument for it because you're hitting this potential red down channel. But keep in mind, I'm not sure I really had a bounce here because it could have been a breakout already. Could have been something like this. Or if it was really up here, then I had a breakout and it's moving back in. So hard to say. I couldn't quite tell, so I'm just glad I left it alone. Prices move up. Unfortunately, there's this really nice, very gradual move up, but there was no way to have entered it unless you just, happen to enter here on the failed second entry short. Then it kind of looks like it's a spike and then a more gradual channel moving up. This midline is where I had my channel originally, and I had this treated as an overshoot, but then it kind of looked like it moved back up, and I dragged from the midline here. So it used to be here, then it looked like it actually fit better here. So it looked like it was a two-tier channel with bearish bias back here, and now it's actually filling up the whole channel range. But there's no clean entries that I could find. You have a first entry long, technically about to create a second entry long. I saw this and I thought it was like an almost trade. What I did like about it is the EMA is starting to show support. It's following nicely in this orange up channel, and this is the first break of this orange up channel. Plus I saw it was one leg down, pull back, second leg down. This signal bar is a little too neutral for my taste. If it closed higher, like near the top, I think I would have had a trade ready because I also like that this is only a 9-tick candle. And in this case, there's enough room to get back to the top of this potential range or resistance area. But I didn't quite like the signal bar. I said, I'm going to wait for a higher low confirmation. This candle would have given you your scalp. And even if you're going for 2 points, you would have kept your stop say back here. You would have survived this and likely probably got your 2-point scalp here because it goes from, let's say, 80, 79.75, 81.75. Yeah, so you would have gotten a 2-point scalp, but I just didn't like it. I was looking for a higher low. Unfortunately, I didn't get it, so it's an almost trade for me. But then it creates this setup, which I think is possible, but I do think it's more aggressive. So your break of this orange up channel, so it's break, first attempt up, second attempt up, and makes a matching high. But here I'm clearly in a trading range now, so I'm not that concerned about testing the highs here as what's going to happen on this sideways price action. So the sideways price action on the smaller, more micro level, I do see kind of like a first entry long pullback, second entry long. I also see if you're doing a strict count from here, this is new low, matching lows, first entry short, second entry short failure. So when I see this in real time, I was thinking there's a possible trade here, except right here is exactly 1 point. So you're going to need to go 1 point plus a couple of ticks to ensure you push through to get your scalp. So I thought it was definitely a more aggressive trade. And I didn't like there wasn't quite enough room for a clean scalp. So whether you call it an almost trade or a possible trade, I kind of labeled it as a possible trade because I did like that the EMA is holding and it's making higher lows every time. So it's very encouraging that it's going to push back up, but not good enough for me to take a trade. So it looks like you would have gotten the scalp probably on this candle or this candle. If you're going for anything much larger, then you probably would have gotten stopped out on this candle. Top sideways, breaks through, falls on what I think is this green down channel, breaks up, And this is actually where I sets up for my one and only trade. So it creates a new low. It's a first entry short, second entry short. But seeing this in real time, I just consider this as like a localized low. I did see this as a break, and I saw it push once, one attempt up after the break, came back down, push a second time. So in real time, I'm seeing this is pushing back into this trading range. Then it pushes out. So I'm thinking fail breakout, but maybe a fail breakout pullback. But maybe it's going to push through and then push out, because here is the EMA is being tested, and the EMA is starting to fail in this region where you're seeing price action actually push through. Here, it has a strong rally to punch through the EMA, but then it's also faltering, it's failing. So here, there's still hope that it might actually punch through and continue to the top of this range. But when I see this candle, I don't really like thinking of going long because I saw this as localized low. You can also say first entry short, second entry short count resets, first entry short, potential second entry short setting up. So what happened was this candle actually spent a great deal of time up here. It opened here, flushed up, and it was just bouncing. Toward the end of my 2000 count, I thought, okay, there is probably, it looks like it's spending more time below the EMA. It looks like it wants to test the low of this green down channel. This could be the break, first attempt down, second attempt down. Granted, if I waited to see how this candle closed, I likely would have just passed on this trade because I'm not a big fan of this doji. But before it closed, because it rallied and bought it right back and closed right at the open, I entered and I got a little bit of slippage because I entered, I actually have my entry one tick below this guy, so it was at 58.7625. So it flushed out, I got slippage and actually filled two ticks below this guy. So I wasn't that thrilled. It flushed down, I got filled, it pushed up, and now my stop's actually one tick above this double top here. So I'm just a little, little concerned that maybe there's going to be some kind of push up and a failure. It comes back up and never hits me, and then it takes out my gives me my profit, and I drag my runner to 1.1 tick below break even, which is right here because it got stopped out. Comes back up and then it flushes down. So it ended up being a profitable trade, but I will admit it was a little aggressive. I entered before this one fully closed, but I saw like first entry short, second entry short. EMA started to show weakness. Not the best setup, a little more aggressive, but I risked it and it kind of worked out. Then prices moved down on this orange down channel, creates this failed second entry short. I didn't really mark it, but at this point I was thinking as pushing down on this yellow down channel. Is it first entry short, second entry short? Second entry short confirmed here and the failure confirmed here because it opened here, did a whole bunch of stuff, pushed down and went back up. So I thought, okay, I'm definitely not going to go long because I'm thinking the resistance could be pretty strong. And I'm glad I didn't go long. Well, excuse me. I'm okay not going long because the resistance here is too strong. I was thinking there's a possibility it could end up being short. Plus, the signal bar needed to close higher to give me a little more confidence. I was thinking if there's a higher low, it'd be worth considering. And it pushes up. You don't really get a higher low till about here, but then by then the trade has been completed. But here it kind of just chops sideways. We have the second entry long here. It's just two sideways. Not really liking what I see. Hits this trading range, and I will say that today there was a lot of movement to trading ranges. So there was a lot of movement, and then there was a lot of indecision, a lot of trading range price action happening. And the trading range, unfortunately, were very tight. And if you're going for a 1 point scalp and your trading range is only 4, it gets a little dicey. You want a little bit larger trading range if you're scalping in proportion to, you want your trading range in proportion large enough to accommodate the scalp that you're trying to go for. Because if you're going for like a 3 point scalp on a 4 point range, that's really dicey because you're asking price action to do a lot of stuff in a very tight area to get your full move, and that's just not a good recipe. So it hits this consolidation, starts flushing down what I think is this yellow down channel. There's no clean second entries that I like. Technically, I have a second entry long here, but it's below the EMA. Don't really like it. You hit this consolidation area here. This is just really tight trading. I was thinking at one time the trading range was here and I had this huge fail breakout, comes back. By the time this happens, I just drag this down to here, but there's no clean setup. I did see like a new high, say first entry long. Unfortunately, you don't get a second entry long, but it was following nicely on this yellow down channel. And that actually sets up for what I thought was an almost trade, because I have a new low, say first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Second entry short is confirmed here. At the time, I was thinking it's rejecting pretty nicely off this yellow down channel. The signal bar itself, though, is too neutral because it kind of closed at the midline. I didn't really like that. Ideally, the signal bar should have closed more bearish down here, or at least it had a one tick above this bar, this green bar here, because otherwise you're handling a inside bar. Inside bars aren't necessarily that bad, except when it's kind of opposite, because it's a bullish bar, but then you have an inside bar that's bearish. If they're both bearish, and this one just happened to be inside another bearish candle, then I'd be a little more okay, give more accommodation. But this one is just right inside this one, so it's like an almost trade. Just didn't really like that. Again, it hits another consolidation area, kind of like another trading range. Then it breaks down. You have a first entry long, pull back. You technically have a second entry long down here in the middle of nowhere, so I'm not thinking of going long. Plus your second entry long from here, first entry long, pull back, second entry long. This is your signal bar. It's bearish right after the bullish one, so it's a little confusing. I'm not ready to take a long here. Then it kind of flushes up, keeps going down, creates a first entry short, creates a second entry short. I just marked this as, I'm not even sure it's a hunch trade, but it's just something I saw. It's this yellow down channel. It had a large break. I wasn't quite sure that this looked correct, dragging it down to here, because then it doesn't fit as nicely here. But having it here feels a little weird having this big overshoot as well. But I did see two legs up. Potential second entry short, but the signal bar isn't very good. It's bullish, plus it's above the EMA. So something like this, I said, I need to see a lower high. And you kind of get a lower high here. So you're thinking, okay, maybe there's a lower high. Then something you get something of a confirmation it's a lower high, but this follow through isn't very convincing. It's a bullish red candle. So that's just like, I'm not sure if it's bullish or it's bearish. So you just wait. It chops around. Hard to say you would have even gotten a clean scalp out because now it reverses up, pushes up, looks like one leg up, two legs down, maybe another leg up. It's another consolidation area. Starts pushing down. You have first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here. It's a bad signal bar. Then you have these very small bodied candles, which I'm not a big fan of. Hit another trading range consolidation area. As I said, today was just a lot of consolidation areas. You have price action that moves, hits a consolidation area, down another consolidation area. And unfortunately, those trading ranges or those consolidation areas, they're very small, or they're not very big with respect to the scalp that you're trying to go for, whether you're going for 1, 2, or 3 point scalps. It's just very tight. It breaks down, starts flushing down. I do see this as a potential support. So I'm wondering if it's going to come back down to here. And if the setup's just right, I could use this as another key entry point. So it pushes up, first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short here, but this is also an inside bar. Inside bar that just doesn't look very clean. I don't really like the setup. If it had touched the EMA, maybe, but still, it's just an inside bar to this big green candle. And if you look, this follow through candle is inside this guy. And then the third candle is still inside this one. So by the time you see this, for me, I'm thinking, okay, just wait. These candles are failing to break out of the range of this bar. There's nothing here like obvious, just wait. You can even argue that this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles in a row, these 7 candles can arguably be said to be within the trading range of this one single candle. And with that in mind, it's just, maybe if you went down to like a 500 tick chart, you might see better resolution, but I'm sticking with 2000, and here it's just ambiguous. The price is pushed down, breaks out of this support, first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short, but that's nothing. And then you're into the last 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes, it's always very choppy. Like price action has a tendency to just do a little more random things. The high probability setups you think you might have turn out to be low probabilities, or they turn out that the low probability condition of your nice setup actually kicks in and it stops you out. So I usually don't try to press for anything in the last 10 minutes unless I'm already holding a trade and just like managing a runner. But those aren't very often. So kind of how I saw the charts today. Only one trade, a lot of movement or just a lot of things happened that it was moving into trading ranges, trading range, trading range, trading range, trading range, trading range, down, and another range, another range, another range. It was a lot of stair step action. So hopefully that was helpful.